Samuel chapter 6. David mustered the pick of the troops of Israel, 30 divisions of them. Together with his soldiers, David headed for Baalah to recover the chest of God, which was called by the name God of the angel armies, who was enthroned over the pair of angels on the chest. They placed the chest of God on a brand new ox cart and removed it from Abinadab's house on the hill. Uzzah and Ahio, Abinadab's sons, were driving the new cart loaded with the chest of God. Ahio in the lead and Uzzah alongside the chest. David and the whole company of Israel were in the parade, singing at the top of their lungs and playing mandolins, harps, tambourines, castanets, and cymbals. When they came to the threshing floor of Nacon, the oxen stumbled, so Uzzah reached out and grabbed the chest of God. God blazed in anger against Uzzah and struck him hard because he had profaned the chest. Uzzah died on the spot, right alongside the chest. And then David got angry because of God's deadly outburst against Uzzah. That place is still called Perez Uzzah, which means the explosion against Uzzah. David became fearful of God that day and said, "This chest is too hot to handle. How can I ever get it back to the city of David?" He refused to take the chest of God a step farther. Instead, David removed it off the road into the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite. The chest of God stayed at the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite for 3 months, and God prospered Obed-Edom and his entire household. It was reported to King David that God had prospered Obed-Edom and his entire household because of the chest of God. And so David thought, I'll get that blessing for myself. And he went and brought up the chest of God from the house of Obed-Edom to the city of David, celebrating extravagantly all the way, with frequent sacrifices of choice bulls. David, ceremonially dressed in priest's linens, danced with great abandon before God. The whole country was with him as he accompanied the chest of God with shouts and trumpet blasts. But as the chest of God came into the city of David, Michal, Saul's daughter, happened to be looking out of a window. When she saw King David leaping and dancing before God, her heart filled with scorn. They brought the chest of God and set it in the middle of the tent pavilion that David had pitched for it. Then and there, David worshipped, offering burnt offerings and peace offerings. When David had completed the sacrifices of burnt and peace offerings, he blessed the people in the name of the God of the angel armies and handed out to each person in the crowd, men and women alike, a loaf of bread, a date cake, and a raisin cake. Then everyone went home. David returned home to bless his family. Michal, Saul's daughter, came out to greet him. "Ugh, how wonderfully the king has distinguished himself today, exposing himself to the eyes of these servants' maids like some burlesque street dancer." David replied to Michal, "In God's presence, I will dance all I want. He chose me over your father and the rest of our family, and he made me prince over God's people, over Israel. So, yes, I will dance to God's glory, more recklessly even than this. And as far as I'm concerned, I will gladly look like a fool. But among these maids you're so worried about, I will be honored to no end." And then Michal, Saul's daughter, was barren for the rest of her life.